Alright, let's see what's in this box. Box says Panasonic on it. So, what's in the box is my old Super VHS camcorder. Okay, I'm going to start with the camcorder. I'm just going to move the box out of the shot here. And that there. You can kind of see what's going on in there. So yeah, this is the camera that I used back. I bought this camera back in 1990, probably 96 or 97. It was my first dockable VHS. It actually still has a tape in it from all these years. So yeah, it takes a full-size VHS tape in here. Just give you a view of what a comparison to what a VHS tape is. Here, so a VHS tape is about that big, would fit in there. Comparison to a modern day camcorder. This camcorder is probably better quality, and it's like my old camcorder that only shot, was an SD card camera that only shot 720 by 480 lines of resolution. Now the cool thing about this camcorder, it had this shoulder mount to it, and had lots of ports to it. It had different settings on the microphone. It had high and low. It had two mic in ports. It had this little EVF for the viewfinder. These old cameras used to have the viewfinders that would come out like that, and you could peek through them. And you can also pop it up, and it would be black and white inside the inside of it. Now I could try putting the battery in. I don't think it'll work. I haven't had it running in like decades. Wow, quite some time. No, there's no go for the battery. But yeah, the battery would go in here and then pop out. And this battery was huge. The battery on this thing is bigger than a modern camcorder or a phone. Oh yeah, it has this nice, the case has this nice little slot here for an extra videotape. In the Panasonic case, that was one thing. I always just stuck the battery in there, but I actually had a battery, an extra battery pack case in it. And I'm just going to go over the camera a little bit more. Now, one thing that's happened after the camera's over 20 years old is it used to have this big fluffy microphone thing. There's like still dust. I could probably show you off my finger there from the microphone falling apart, because I took it out. Took this camera out recently just to do just shoot a picture for my Twitter page when I had to, and I wanted an image. So I thought, well, this is kind of cool. I'll hold this camera because I call my page a video creator page, which I have on Facebook and Twitter. So yes, SVHS flying erase head. That used to be a big deal back in the day. Flying erase head. Variable high-speed shutter, and I remember that this camera did look a little nicer than some of the others. SVH recorder, SVH movie camera recording and playback. The Panasonic AG450. It was a 1CCD camera, so I used to, you know, try to make stuff and then ask if they put it on the community access channel, and says, no, your camera's only 1CCD. It's not high enough quality. You have to have a 3CCD camera. Oh, how much does that cost? Oh, okay. Yeah. Preview, autofocus, and white balance. So here on this side here, it has some switches. We're gonna take. So it has all these switches here. It has the auto, you can switch between autofocus and manual, and this thing had its own, like you can tweak the focus and the zoom, which I really liked about the old camcorders, just to have that feature where you can focus. You had your push auto, white balance. Although really, to make out what you were seeing in this, one of these black and white viewfinders, really didn't really help much. It had a fade button. The fade was really slow. There was a high-speed shutter. There's the date clock, which if you ever watched a lot of home videos, it used to have the date clock, which really was unnecessary. It's nice to have it maybe for the first 3 seconds of your shot, so you have an idea of where it's been recorded, but then you don't really need it playing through your whole video. Record review, which was a feature that would just rewind the tape a few, you know, kind of like what you have with a digital camera these days. It did have the option to turn the S video off or on auto and on. because Super VHS tapes had a little tab in them that would, when it would be in a SVHS player, the device would know when it was on. And I used to have this, an automatic balance and an iris setting, which used to be really handy if I had it hooked up to a monitor and was doing an inside shoot. So that's that side. Now I have this nice strap on the back. So it had like a little edit remote, like if you had a remote for editing, and it also had the S video out here in the back. And I remember hooking this up to transfer it to my video editing equipment and stuff. And then there's this adapter, says C manual, and I'll go over the adapter in a minute as well. And so there it is with the tape in it. I don't even think it's an SVHS tape. And it had the W in toward, wider and toward, and it had the record button here and a record button there as well. So both these red buttons would just basically be where you'd hit record. And I used the mic input a lot back in the day because I had a wireless microphone and I would plug it into the camera. So go through some more of the components of it. So this was the charger that it came with. Take that. There we go. So, that external battery thing here. It actually had a port to the antenna and TV. Yeah, for commercial use only. So it had the charge on and TV video, so you can switch the modes so that you can you know, watch it back, or actually hook it up to your TV and then use the camera. I'll see if it will still work. And it had channel 3 and channel 4 output. It had an antenna pass through to your TV, and it had video and audio out. And I'm surprised this thing only had one side. I guess probably that's why I had a lot of problem editing my video back in the day, because it was only mono. But later on, when I had Kdenlive, I was able to fix the stereo in the editing in post-production. I remember I used to only get one channel of audio on that thing. I have this little rag for cleaning the lens. This is kind of neat. This is like if your battery dies on you and you want to use your car adapter, you plug that into your car. It's power outlet, and then this is just like, feels like nothing in it, and it's just basically so you can have you know, if you're in your car, you're seeing right inside your car and you want to videotape something. There's more things in here. There's a little clip that goes on the top of the camera. I actually never use this thing, but it goes up here. I believe it goes up here or somewhere like that, and attaches to the camera. Never use this thing. Still have the manual. I ever read it. And always I just kept a pair of audio video cables just in it, just in case. And I have some tie wraps, which I usually always just stick everything back in here. For an extra battery. I wonder if this thing's leaking any carbon zinc or anything like that. No, at least these batteries, they don't leak all the battery stuff after not being used for almost 20 years. Alright, so I'm going to attempt to connect it up to this VCR because it has the input jack for it, and we'll see if this camcorder still works after all these years. So, first off is you want to turn your TV volume all the way down, because these camcorders, the audio will pass through, or you'll get the feedback when you turn it on. So, I'm going to power it up this way. I don't think the batteries will work anymore, but we'll give this a try. Hopefully it doesn't blow up on us, because as I said, I haven't ran this thing in almost 2 decades, but not quite. There, we got some picture on the TV. There we go. You can see what's going on there. You can see it on the TV. You can see my camera there. There's my light. Looks like I'm on the surface of the moon or something with that light. And you can zoom in on my camera here. Still works after all these years, and it's auto-focusing too. I can see myself on the TV. It's the wonderful, I don't know how many lines of resolution it is, you know, the standard definition video recording stuff. So yeah, so now it's fired up. I'll move the camera over here. We'll take a look at this, take a little more at the features. But I can kind of tell, I'm just going to move this, put Big Bird on here, there we go. It kind of looks a little bit grainy, the footage, but I think it always did. Maybe it's just the camera that I had. So yeah, it looks just a little bit grainy. I'll have to show you some old footage I shot with this camera.
And many strong.
I can see myself. All right. Now. Get out of here. So this tape's probably been in here for a long time. You can hear it wheeling out. Smackdown. Wonder if I had wrestling on this tape, or was it high octane basement wrestling? So here's what it would look like there. You pop that open. I don't know if it will eat the tapes now. You have these options here. So you have your stop, your record, your audio dub, your rewind, because I think you would be able to insert video and dub over, like on your recording of a tape. With this recorder was one of the features that they had. I think it's on play mode now, because usually what would happen is when I would move this part here on the camera, it would the feedback would come out on it. So I'm just gonna see if there's anything. This is just the standard VHS tape that I have in here. But what would happen is you could record on standard VHS or on Super VHS. But it did not have the Super VHS ET feature. Is it ET? Yeah, the ET feature. This VCR here has it. So let's see if it plays. The audio's down, so that's good. I don't even know what's on this tape. Looks like something I recorded off TV a long time ago. But it's playing, I'm seeing video on it, and I see wrestling, I see the Big Show. And I'm not sure if this, for playback, if this machine played back SP or SLP, because I remember the recording mode on this was only SP, which is good. Like, you get 2 hours per tape, and it would be better picture quality. So I'm going to perform a rewind with this. Just rewind the tape. I'll lay it down, and you can see the tape rewinding. There's the tape rewinding. And it also had this little door here next to the eject and power button that you'd lift up, and it had your counter, reset your memory, your setting your date, and your tracking control. That was hidden away in the camera. Now, to do a comparison of a regular VHS compared to a Super VHS, the Super VHS would have this hole on the tape to tell the machine that it is in fact a Super VHS tape. And to tell if the tape was a regular VHS tape or a Super VHS tape, you would usually see on the top corner here, it would be labeled VHS or SVHS. And usually the tape would have an SVHS on it. So there's SVHS, and there is the VHS logo. So here's a video of a wedding that I shot probably 20 years ago. And just goes in here, and it will load the VHS tape like that. So one thing you'll notice is when you do put an SVHS tape into the machine, this light here will light up a green dot to indicate that an SVHS, Super VHS tape is inside your camcorder. There's a little bit of a wedding that I shot on Super VHS back 20 years ago. Didn't really have the camera in the best spot. It got the back of their heads during the ceremony. So the camcorder just has one wire running out to the TV, which is the power wire, which is connected up to this device here that acts as the charger, and it also has video running out into the TV. So this is how you can have a live footage shot of it as I zoom in on my camera tripod here. And also the low light, this room is not very well lit. So these cameras compared to a newer camera, the newer cameras do a lot better in dimmer light, even though I have lighting going on here, but even still with light, I can see that it's not very well, you have to have it kind of, you don't want to have it, well obviously I have it shooting against the window here, so the window kind of makes it hard for the camera, especially these old cameras. You want to have your footage kind of like, you know, over there on the couch there, you can see that a lot better. So inside the case it has this diagram on how to pack up your camera and all the compartments for your camera to go into. And this was just the case that it came in was really nice and heavy duty. I mean, yeah, the cameras now would not come like this thing. You know, can survive an explosion. Like, you know, it's really robust. Has these little keys on it too. I don't even know where the keys are. As I said, I bought this thing secondhand off of the story how I got it is quite interesting. I got it off National Capital Freenet. That was like back in the days before I had a I was probably still like connecting to Freenet with a Commodore 64 computer that I had the VIC, like a VIC modem, not a VIC modem, but a modem attached to it. And I remember seeing, you know, it's like war games where, you know, you'd go to the BBS and you had the text would print across your screen. And I think I spent $800 for the camera and the case, and the guy even sold a tripod with it because he just wanted to get rid of it. He just wasn't shooting much video. It was secondhand at the time. Oh yeah, another thing I want to show you is the viewfinder. I'm just going to flip the thing up so you can see inside there. Probably hard to see with the camera. Here's my hand in the shot. So that would be the viewfinder, and that's what you had to work with back in the day. You'd look through that little eye thing there, and you would, you know, hopefully you'd be in focus. And this thing actually had a little focusing dial thing right there, so you can focus. So you had to make sure it's focused in focus here and in focus here. It really did you'd be much better off just to have like a it hooked up to a monitor. But then also this is meant for being outside. So, but also being outside with a better light, it probably would work better. So yeah, that's what we had to work with. Little black and white viewfinder thing there, and yeah, rocket. SVHS, and it went on standby. If you didn't do anything with it for a while, it just went into standby mode.
Hey, it's time now for the Hardcore Movie Guy Show. Yeah, I am the Hardcore Movie Guy. All right, I gotta, yep. Oops. How'd that get there? Look at this. No shoes, no shirt, no service. Darn!
This is what it would look like if adults acted like toddlers.